welcome back to another week of Stand United, where we are updating you on our trending petitions. We'll pass it over to Angela. We've got 4 great topics for you this week.
Yes, thanks, Liz. We're so glad to be here, and we're glad that you're watching. Our first topic is really interesting. We would love to hear from you, as always, so reach out to us on Facebook. Liz is monitoring the comments, and our very first issue has to do with students. So if you are a student, if you know a student, if you have a child who's a student, you would know about the Common Core. And the Common Core is a set of standards that were set by the federal government to try and level the playing field for all the students in America, so no easy task. But what has happened with it is that it's actually caused American kids to fall behind kids in other countries. There's something called the OECD, which is an organization of 35 countries who are industrialized democracies, so think about them as peer countries. Okay. And before Common Core started, we were 23rd out of 35, so really not good. But since then, we've fallen to 29th. So this petition tells Betsy DeVos, our brand new Secretary of Education, to repeal the Common Core standards and not tie federal funding to them.
And I just actually posted a link, or all of the links to the petitions we're going to be covering. It's pinned to the top. So feel free, if as we're talking about these petitions, please look it up and sign and get involved in the conversation. Common Core is a great topic that we've done petitions on before. Our last Common Core petition got over 50,000 signatures. So I think this is a great time to introduce a new one with a new administration.
Exactly, because this one is addressed to Betsy DeVos, and I don't know if you all saw the video from a few days ago where she was blocked from entering a school. So she has her work cut out for her, and we're making our voices heard. Liz, I have a question for you. This ties to Common Core. Think about all the books you read in high school. I had to read a million of them. I barely remember some, but some stuck with me, I promise. What was your favorite? Or group of favorites. You don't have to pick one.
Probably Tale of Two Cities.
That was a good one. I really liked The Road, which was Cormac McCarthy. Yes. It was weird, totally different vibe, but that was really good. I remember having to read Of Mice and Men, and it was so sad, but it's one of those things where you're glad you read it. And this was what I was thinking of when we were researching the Common Core petition, because the new standards sort of gut that curriculum, and instead of focusing on the classics, like we just named, I mean, The Great Gatsby. Everyone was Great Gatsby and Daisy for Halloween that year. It was such a big deal, especially when the movie came out. And those books are going to go away from the curriculum, and they're going to get replaced by things that they call like government texts. One of them was literally about the history of the grocery bag, which might be interesting in its own right. Not trying to knock that. But I'm saying it is definitely not a classic, and if you had a choice on what to learn about, I know what I would pick, and I think we have a hunch what you all would pick for your students too.
And Jim Jacobs just wants to chime in. I think it's based on our title here. No Common Core, never Sharia Law, and yes on religious freedom. So we will catch you up on those other 2 petition topics pretty soon here.
All right, well, let's do it. What do you want to do next?
I think what we have next is the Sharia Law petition.
This is really interesting because it's domestic policy, but domestic policy that comes from a foreign place. Do you want to explain a little about what that is? This is really cool.
Yeah, and it's actually a fairly new petition. It was actually just published on Monday, and we're already over 1,000 signatures.
Wow.
In just a couple of days. So it's something that a lot of you guys feel strongly about. And while there's currently there's no proactive movement that we know of people to put Sharia law on the same level in American courts. This whole idea is just that Congress would ban it from the start so that there's no issue similar to what we're seeing in Europe and other places where Sharia law in certain parts of the countries are able to be used instead of whatever country's laws they are.
Exactly, and people think, oh, that's not a threat here, and we can head off that threat by having Congress ban Sharia entirely and say American laws for American courts. Another interesting question is what exactly is in Sharia? Now, I don't want to speak for that entirely. I know that there are different schools of Sharia. People interpret that set of laws different ways, just as American law gets interpreted differently by different judges. But this is a pretty different system of law in terms of what is considered a crime and what can be punished. Especially, women are treated as property. It's not a great system to be a woman. If you or anyone you know is LGBTQ, those people can be punished just for, having that identity. So that's something significant that a lot of people are very resistant to, as I think they should be. American freedom is what makes this country what it is. So American laws for American courts, and it's the idea that we would be protected from anyone trying to institute Sharia laws in America.
Right. I think it's a proactive approach towards that. We do have a couple comments. Kathy was saying Common Core is what she's talking about. Propaganda and brainwashing our kids, erasing our history to control the masses. And then Jim chimed in and agreed with Kathy and to bring back teaching American history, which is, a valid thing.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand with the Sharia law idea. Just that a lot of kids aren't learning all of our history or learning watered down versions of it, which makes it easier to accept different laws and stuff like that as well.
Exactly. Kathy and Jim, that's a great comment. We tend to focus on math, science, literature, but history is, I think, every bit as important. It was my favorite subject in school, so I'm a bit biased. But certainly what is taught in textbooks and what gets edited out of history is a huge concern, and we hope you will sign that Common Core petition to make sure that states are allowed to set really high standards for their students to get American kids to achieve as high as they possibly can.
All right, so our next one is...
Oh, Richmond.
Yes.
Do we have anybody in Richmond, Virginia, or in a sanctuary city? I live in a sanctuary city. I think my parents, where they live is a sanctuary city too.
Apparently, where I'm from is a sanctuary city as well.
Yeah, they're all over the place. If you don't know whether or not you live in a sanctuary city, we encourage you to check it out. But if you live in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco, definitely, those are all sanctuary cities. So those cover a lot of the big hitters, but even a lot of cities throughout the South have gotten sanctuary status. And Richmond is one of them. So if you want to explain a little bit about what a sanctuary city is, because most people don't really know what that entails.
Sure. So sanctuary cities just generally means it's a city that refuses to cooperate with the general federal immigration laws. It's not just openly going and deporting people, but it's after someone has broken the law. You're supposed to check their immigration status, and if it turns out that they are here illegally, you report them to ICE enforcement, and then they go from there. It's how they crack down on the illegal immigrants that are committing crimes and things like that, and in theory they are supposed to be deported back to where they came from, all of that. Sanctuary cities, or anytime you see the word sanctuary, whether it just means they're not cooperating with that part of it. When there is some sort of crime committed, they are not reporting these illegal immigrants to ICE like they should be.
Exactly. That's a really good way to say it. A lot of people sort of conflate it with mass deportations, that ICE is going to knock on people's doors and kick them out if they are not supposed to be here. That's not what it is. The sanctuary city only kicks in when someone who is in this country illegally commits an additional crime. And right now, Richmond, Virginia, it's a big place, and it is a sanctuary city. And it became that way because of a petition that had 1,300 signatures. And I know what we do here, and I know you guys, our audience, and I think we can beat that. I know we can beat that. To tell Richmond that it should not be a sanctuary city. And actually, we're not the authors behind that petition. We're helping out another group called the Virginia Free Citizen. So it's not like we're specifically picking Richmond. We have people who are from there, who are in that community, who came to us with this. And we're saying this is a great platform. We want to help you out.
All right.
Yeah. Another interesting stat about Richmond is that its crime rate is 164% of the crime rate in the rest of the state. So the idea that it's a sanctuary for people here illegally is pretty interesting, given that it's not really a safe sanctuary for people living in the city.
All right. I adjusted my mic, and I hope that helps with the volume. I'm also a little sick, so I'm congested, and that's not helping my case either. So I apologize for the volume issues. Should we go to our last petition?
Last but certainly not least, this is about a proposed executive order. So it's not an order yet, but it has been proposed, and it's about religious freedom.
Yes, sorry, I was looking at, thank you, Jim. We were getting our comments on the volume. Yes, so,
Sure, so the religious freedom, that's all right, I gotcha. The religious freedom executive order covers a ton of stuff. But some of the things that are most interesting is what it does about Obamacare. It says that if you're a religious organization and you have a religious objection to purchasing something like birth control, other forms of contraception, that you don't have to pay for it. You might remember the lawsuit with the Little Sisters of the Poor, and forcing nuns to do things, typically not a winning issue, forcing these small nonprofits and people who have dedicated their lives to serving others. This is an order that would protect them. It also has to do with adoption and foster services, which is really cool. It protects adoption agencies, foster care organizations from being discriminated against because they have a religious affiliation. So it does a lot of good things. It even protects government workers and government contractors' workers from religious discrimination.
And if I'm correct, this would go, this would repeal the executive order that Obama signed a couple years ago, right? This is like basically the one that, what was it, 2 years ago, about the executive order. This is specifically would repeal this one that Obama signed a couple years ago regarding religious liberty with government contractors and businesses.
That's exactly right. So federal government is, I think might be the world's largest employer if you count everybody, and if you count all the contractors.
Yeah.
I know we're up there. I know we're the biggest employer in the country, but we might be in the world as well. So this is a ton of people that it affects. It also has a big impact on small businesses and small organizations. This is for the little guy, and the order sounds like it has a lot in it. That's because it does. So this organization called First Liberty, religion is our First Amendment right, for free exercise is our First Amendment right. They came to us and they said, we want a petition for this issue to ask President Trump to sign this order. Their petition's doing great. It's got, thousands of signatures already. We're well into the thousands. So this has momentum, and we're so glad that people are already signing. If you haven't signed yet, please do, and please share it to your Facebook. You're on Facebook now, so I feel okay asking you to do that. But sharing these are a great way to help them be successful.
And just in response to Shannon, we personally don't take stances on the issues, but we do have the petition we were talking about is to Betsy DeVos to repeal Common Core. So we do have a petition against Common Core. If you still feel strongly the other way, you are welcome to come and start your own petition supporting it. We love to have a little bit from both sides.
Yeah,
for sure.
We hope that you will. Actually, a while back, we had 2 competing petitions on the same issue.
We did.
It was about Confederate monuments, memorials, some sort of statue that was in remembrance or recognition.
And it was actually, so it was a Virginia local one as well. We actually got the first petition to take down this Confederate memorial. And then shortly thereafter, there was another petition, within a couple of days, and we would basically had a dueling petitions there. They both got their supporters around them. And so we absolutely love to have a little bit of competition and see where it goes.
Yeah,
Shannon says Common Core is bad, so you should sign the petition.
Yep, there you go.
There is a link to it in our pinned comment at the top. Thank you for talking to us.
Yes, we're glad to have your comments, glad to have your support.
This is like the most interactive audience we've ever had. It's the highest number of viewers.
You guys are great.
It's really fun when you guys talk to us like this. We enjoy it a lot. And help us with our sound and everything. It's great.
Yes, always feel free to ask us questions. We're so glad to be a part of this conversation. We've got tons of exciting stuff coming up, so we hope you will stay tuned. Next Wednesday, same time, same place. Y'all have a great week.
And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.